What's up, y'all? This is a 6-month later review of the Alpha Theta Omnis Duo. Alpha Theta, Alpha Theta. Anyways, Pioneer, y'all know what I mean. So this was gonna be all high production and shit. Then I decided to just jump into it in a salt-fueled rage as it's stuck in a unending emergency loop right now before I got everything set up. So if that gives you a hint of the tone that this review is gonna be in, yeah, that's pretty honest. Let's jump into it. So this video isn't sponsored. I wasn't loaned this unit, so you're gonna hear exactly the hot takes that I have. This unit isn't trash, right? There's specific use cases that I think you can use this for. We're gonna go really fast in a minute. I'm just gonna cover all the specs. It's a 2-deck mixer, works in the record box ecosystem. It's about the size of a DDJ 400. So you can see it. It's pretty nice. It's gonna fit in a backpack, which is always cool if you want to just throw it in a bag and have something easy to take around. Pretty good input output. All right, so you got your XLR outs, you got your RCA outs, and you got 2 mic ins, which is actually really nice. That's going to feed into the one thing that I think this unit is actually great for. You got the USBs and you got USB-C power, USB-C to record box, and SD card. So first thing you notice, there is only one USB for your USB-A jacks. Again, that's gonna be a bit of an issue, right? You want to do back-to-back changeover is kind of a pain. So I'm surprised that for a $1,500 unit, they didn't throw something a bit better in there. Other things to watch out for, you know, you got the effects knob, you got all that, but all your effects are gonna be on the screen, which I can't show you because it's frozen right now. And luckily, it's still in warranty, so I guess it's going back. But if I could show you, all the effects are going to be via the touchscreen. So selecting the depth, selecting the effect, all of that is, you're gonna have to touch the screen for that. So if you're used to having those controls physically tactile to respond to, you're not gonna get that, all right? So that's the first big thing. There is 2 like kind of weird Bluetooth things that you've probably heard about. One is the input. Again, I don't really know what you're gonna use that for. You have to play the whole track to be able to read that as a track. Again, if you're thinking that somebody just sends you the track that they're requesting, doesn't work because you got to connect it and they got to play it the whole time. Maybe if you have some weird situation where you play it on your own Spotify connected to your phone, but it's just awkward, man. I feel like it's a great idea. This is like the first wave of technology. The second one, which is kind of cool, but has more problems than you might think, is that this thing can connect to Pioneer speakers, right? So the Wave 8, there's a wireless low latency connection. Again, they're not the first to do this, but here's the catch. The connectivity is not built into this unit, right? So if you have it, there's like a little dongle, it hangs off here, and it kind of just flaps around, right? So you would think that's not a huge problem, that it's not super inconvenient, but the whole idea of going within an ecosystem is that you don't have to fiddle with dongles, right? So it's just one more thing to hang around, one more thing to lose. It slots right into the Wave 8 case, so chances aren't high that you'll lose it, but again, it's you know, you would think they would just spend 10, 20 bucks to throw it in there when it's a $1,500 unit already, right? And I don't love it because it also locks you into the Pioneer speaker ecosystem, right? And if you're, let's say you're not club, you know, you're mobile, wedding, whatever, right? You probably have your speakers of your own, right? You probably want to be able to go in an upgrade path when you're moving to larger and larger venues. Pioneer doesn't have you covered for that, right? This is not a professional grade kind of tool. And if you're a club DJ, then you don't need the speakers, right? So again, it's one of those situations where it's weird who it's for. So there are actually 2 good things about this unit, and they are very, very specific, and I'll go into them in some detail so that you can have a sense of whether it's useful for you, right? One is the mic routing, right? So the mic can be routed into the effects. And the reason why this is useful is because the closest competitor can't, right? So if you think about the Denon Prime Go, the Denon Prime Go is better than this unit in almost every way, right? Nearly every way for 2/3 of the price. Yeah, the firmware is more robust. It has a longer track record. Both of the units have crashed on me a couple times, but my Denon has crashed and it's still working, right? This thing is going back to the factory, so I can't even show you the effects on the mic. The good thing about this is that you can actually get effects on the mic channel, right? So let's say that you play keyboard, you play cello, you play anything that can be mic'd or have a instrument level input, or even let's say you're a vocalist, right? You can run a mic into here and have reverb on your vocals, which is a really big deal. You're saving the trouble of carrying pedals around. You're probably getting better effects than if you run it into a mixer, like a portable mixer. I find that really useful. On the Omnis Duo side, you have Rekordbox, which is great. You know, people say that Denon, you can just plug in Rekordbox. Again, always does not work in the real world. You have the beat grid alignment issue where, you know, half, maybe a bit less than half of your tracks are going to be off by generally 15 milliseconds, right? So you're changing all your beat grids on the fly. So yeah, it's not a perfect solution, especially if you have most of your stuff in Rekordbox. On the Denon side, the unit works pretty well. It's robust. They're on their second iteration. They've worked out a lot of the kinks. The effects honestly still don't sound as good, but it works really, really well, especially if you don't care about Rekordbox. I wouldn't pay the extra $500 for this, right? Like, if you're thinking that this is industry standard, whatnot, no, they changed the UI from, you know, their CDJs, from the RX series, from the XZ series, all of that, right? So you are not getting the same UI. I don't know the technical side, but I find this really unstable. It's crashed a couple times. As I showed you, you know, it's in a loop right now. Can't read the device. And it is playing the same thing over and over. Yeah, salty AF, man. So yeah, who this is really, really for? Two people, right? One, you're gonna be playing some kind of live / mix set. You have an instrument, you wanna run it into effects. Denon Prime Go cannot do that. As far as I know, tons of people have asked. Probably a hardware limitation, so I don't think that's gonna be changing anytime soon, right? So you gotta think, is it worth $500 to have that function and Rekordbox? I'll be honest, I organize most of my stuff in Rekordbox. If this worked well and that was all it had, I would probably be okay with this, right? But what you're facing is a unit that's $500 more. It doesn't work really well, and Pioneer doesn't have a great record of supporting their stuff with really quick updates. I mean, like, good thing about Denon is, yeah, it's janky and it might not be working properly, but they'll get something out to make it work, right? Like, shit, look at their new stem solution. It is janky, but it works, right? Someone's doing something there. So hey, again, not really a fanboy for either side. I have plenty of gear from both of them, just my own preference. So the second group of people this is good for is you know, lifestyles / hobby DJs. Like, you just want something fun to throw in your bag and, you know, go to your friend's place and jam, right? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? If you want to drop $1,500 for that, yeah, no judgment, right? It's fun. The build quality is nice. Like, when you move the faders, when you move the knobs, yeah, you're gonna have a good time, right? I think if this is the limit of what you want, you don't want key sync, you don't want any, you don't want key shift, you don't want any fancy stuff. You're okay in a controlled environment to be going on the touchscreen and you don't need the muscle memory. Like, this is fun. You'll have a good time with your friends. But I would say, you know, even if you are that type of, you know, hobbyist, I'm having fun, but you think you might want to grow into something bigger, play larger venues, the RX2 is $500 more than this, and the RX2 is a solid system, right? I feel like you can be really club ready on an RX2. You're not finagling with the touchscreen. You know, you have the physical controls. It's really solid. If you want to be in that Rekordbox ecosystem, go with the RX2. Like, if you do have those ambitions to grow. But anyways, just my thoughts. Again, you can tell that I'm kind of salty about This unit, you can tell I had shit set up ready to film a proper live set for y'all with thoughtful thoughts and whatever the hell, right? Like, I got my shit here. Yeah, this thing won't even work right now, so this is what you get, YouTube. Hopefully this helps someone make their decision.